Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin are modern-day treasure hunters.
They're calling to me. I've got meteorites in my bones, you know.
They travel the world in search of meteorites, alien invaders that have been crashing into our planet for the last 4.5 billion years. On this adventure, the guys head to one of the harshest places on Earth.
Spectacular.
Chile's Atacama Desert. Geoff and Steve were here 13 years ago on their first expedition as a meteorite hunting team.
Chile is a meteorite-rich country.
And that's why they're back.
Is this grave robbing?
Yes.
The guys braved below freezing temperatures above 9,000 feet.
It's not just the rocks. It's everything about them.
To find the big space rocks they missed on their last Chile hunt.
Yeah! If that's not a meteorite, what is it? It's worth $25,000. Easy.
Just another day in the life of a meteorite hunter. Chile's a strikingly beautiful country. It's full of amazing scenery. This is my second time in Chile. I was here 13 years ago with Steve. So happy to be back.
Does the restaurant serve lamb chops here?
But the thing that draws us to Chile is it is a meteorite-rich country. There are numerous fantastic meteorite sites.
Onward and upward.
And we're going to try and hit every one of them on this trip. Nothing's going to stand in our way.
The Atacama Desert in northern Chile is renowned as one of the most desolate, arid, and dangerous places on the planet, measuring less than 5 millimeters of rainfall each year.
This might not be the end of the world, but you can see it from here. There is nothing anywhere.
This barren landscape is where the Mars rover was tested before NASA sent it to the real red planet.
It really is the wild frontier.
The first location the guys will hunt is the Imilac strewn field, located 873 miles north of Chile's capital, Santiago. Because Imilac is a 4-hour drive from the nearest city, Geoff and Steve will camp during the 4-day hunt, despite the dangers of exposure to the harsh elements.
This is about as far away as you can get and still be somewhere.
It's winter in the southern hemisphere, and temperatures often drop below freezing. In addition to the bitter cold, the guys will also contend with altitude. They'll hunt and camp at nearly 10,000 feet, where the oxygen is dangerously thin. Geoff and Steve make their way to the meteorite-rich Imilac strewn field.
Imilac, we're back. Did you miss us?
It is great to be back to Imilac again.
It looks almost exactly the same.
On their first hunt 13 years ago, the guys unearthed several kilograms of small meteorites worth about $10,000.
So many fond memories, and of course, how can you not have fond memories when you find hundreds of little meteorites? It's a time of our life to be able to be back here to hunt in a ground that has proven for us in the past. We're hoping it's going to prove again. So, 13 years ago, our campsite was right down there.
Yeah. We did a really good job on our first trip, and we know other people have been out hunting intervening years, so we're curious to see what, if anything, remains.
I remember believing that this is the one place on Earth where anybody could show up and within 5 minutes they could find a meteorite.
You want to put that to the test? I think we should have a race to see who can find the first piece.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, and they're off.
The history of the Imilac strewn field dates back to 1822, when prospectors looking for silver stumbled across several large masses of meteorites. Since that time, several tons of material have been found. The guys are here to find the big rocks they overlooked before, but a lot of smaller rocks could turn out to be just as valuable.
I got one! 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
I got one!
I beat you.
Barely. I think I detected mine first.
Doesn't count.
I bet mine's bigger than yours. The gold standard here would be a meteorite that has a nice, juicy green crystals in it. That super ultimate meteorite that we hope to find here.
Well, let's see what we got. Here are our first few tiny little pieces. And I mean tiny. But they're meteorites.
The Imilac meteorite is classified as a palisite, a rare stony iron containing mixtures of both metal and olivine crystals. The largest known Imilac recovered to date is currently housed in the British Museum of Natural History in London and weighed in at 198 kilograms. The value of these rocks is determined by aesthetics, usually clarity of crystals, weight, and mass.
I don't think there's anywhere else in the world you could get out of your truck and find meteorites in 5 minutes. They're really small, though.
It's a cute little one, about a gram. Probably worth 8 or 10 bucks.
At this rate, Steve and Geoff will need to find 1,000 of these 1-gram pieces to cover the cost of this expedition.
Little black one. My detector is picking up even smaller pieces. Call them canardlies. Can hardly see them.
When meteorites plummet to Earth, the area where they land is called the strewn field.
As it fragments into multiple pieces, typically the small pieces fall first, and the bigger ones go further because they've got more mass and inertia, and it carries them that extra bit of distance.
For decades, the Imilac strewn field was widely believed to have a northeast to southwest trajectory, with the large end of the strewn field toward the southwest. But the small fragments the guys are finding indicate a different possibility. A large piece of the meteorite may have experienced a violent breakup late in its flight, suggesting an opposite trajectory, with larger pieces landing right where the guys are hunting.
Here in the Imilac strewn field, everything from very little sub-gram size pieces of meteorites have been found up to 450-pound masses have been found.
These pieces broke up in the atmosphere at a considerable altitude and were then spread over these hundreds of acres here.
The Imilac strewn field is more than 3 square miles, roughly the size of 1,400 football fields. A lot of ground to cover when you're looking for something that is oftentimes the size of a pebble.
Oh, there it is. Little guy.
All metal detectors basically work on the same principle. They send a signal from the control box down through a cable to a coil, and the coil then transmits that signal into the ground. If that signal encounters a buried metallic object, it'll send a return signal, an echo, back up into the machine that's broadcast through a speaker. It really is a way of looking for invisible buried treasure. We use every tool at our disposal. Now, Steve and I know that a lot of meteorite hunters have been out to this site. You can see footprints and tire tracks all over the place. It's very clear that a lot of that area has been thoroughly hunted. So the strategy I'm using today is to hunt a little bit outside of the known boundary of the strewn field and see if I can find maybe some pieces that overshot the strewn field a little bit.
It's a gamble.
Well, that sounds nice.
It's right on the surface.
And sometimes gambling pays off.
That is a nice little Imilac with a big olivine crystal in it. Imilac meteorites probably go for about $7, $8, $10 a gram. This piece is about 10 or 12 grams, so 70, 80, 100 bucks. If I was going to sell it, I think I'll keep it. Make it into a pendant for my sweetheart. We'll see about that.
Sometimes the meteorite hunt can feel like it's barely worth the effort.
Oh, it's tiny. 10 bucks. Cat food for a week.
But Geoff and Steve know, even the little finds add up.
Ooh, get a little bigger. $10 rock.
We're finding a few small pieces, little pieces so far. But at least they're the real deal. This is a good example of skeletal Imilacs. The Imilac meteorite's a palisite, which means it's roughly 50% olivine crystals. And out here in this harsh desert environment, the olivine weathers away more quickly than the iron, leaving fantastic, scary, sharp shapes. And we call them Imilac skeletons. So that's cute. Bit by bit, the collection grows. Doing fairly well, actually.
Ooh, yeah, nice one. Ooh, and it's got a hole in it. There's always collectors out there that go after unusual things, and one of the things that's desirable are meteorites with natural holes in them. So this guy is probably a $40 little meteorite, maybe $50. That sounds good.
With just 2 hours of light left at location 1, Steve makes the find of the day.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Whoa!
Meteorite hunters Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin are in Chile's Atacama Desert. They're hunting in location number 1, located at the northeast end of the strewn field.
Oh, whoa! Whoa! Yeah! Wow! This is why we come out here. This little guy got points of metal sticking around. There's remnants of old crystals, old olivine crystals. This is so cool looking. This meteorite weighs about 10 grams. At $10 a gram, that's a $100 rock, but it is so cute. There's a premium on it, so I'd say $200, maybe $250.
The guys have found a total of 14 small Imilac meteorites, worth approximately $1,000. Not a bad first day.
I do not want to leave this hillside.
But the sun is setting, and Geoff and Steve have to find shelter before temperatures plummet.
Check this out. Wow.
The guys stumble upon an ideal spot to spend the night.
It looks like something you'd see in a Western.
Oh,
The
yeah.
steam engine pulls up.
Got a roof over our head, maybe. This place looks like a cross between a dump and an old train station. Anyone home? Oh, cool.
Hey, we could make a fire in here.
Yeah.
It's a bit squalid.
Squalid? Is it? Let's grab our tents.
I don't suppose you brought a broom with you, did you? We're at an elevation of between 9,000 and 10,000 feet here, and it's the winter in Chile.
Where's the tent at?
So it's really cold. By midnight, it should be somewhere between 10 and 20 degrees below freezing. This is my camp bed, thank you. We're throwing it on the floor. An expedition like this requires a lot of planning, a lot of equipment, and it's very expensive.
All right. Ugh.
That means we have to find a decent amount of material just to cover our costs. Just another day in the life of a meteorite hunter.
Day 1 did produce rocks, but not the big ones Geoff and Steve had hoped for.
Well, we found a few pieces today, so we know there's still something here. I mean, little stuff, but
It's a little discouraging, I tell you.
we're just gonna have to hit it harder tomorrow.
I
Think
agree.
outside the box, try something new. That's what we do.
I'm excited to get the magnet sled together. We'll be able to cover a lot more ground in a real short period of time. And the idea is if we can suck some of those little ones and medium-sized ones up out of the ground onto the magnets, then we can cover a lot more ground than we can walking around.
With 14 small finds already under their belts, the guys begin day 2 optimistic.
It's a lovely morning.
It's sunny. No clouds in the sky.
All right, so before we head out, I thought it'd be worth going over everything that we know. So it seems like the distribution of pieces is something like this.
Today they hope to score larger rocks, and to do so, hunt a different area of the strewn field.
One thing we might try is going a little bit northwest out of the strewn field.
Yeah.
And another thing maybe would be to search on the back of this hillside.
Right.
If you use your giant magnet sled in this
Right.
flat area here where you can pull it behind the truck,
Right.
I'll use my smaller handheld one and I'll try and do some gridding up here.
Hopefully we'll be able to pull some of those remaining ones out of the ground.
Well, that seems like a pretty good game plan to me.
Cool.
The goal is to continue to bag small pieces while also hunting for an undiscovered chunk of meteorite they are convinced remains on the desert floor. The guys make their way farther north to location number 2. Geoff and Steve will hunt where they hope others haven't, just outside the strewn field's boundary. It's also time to try out some of their newest meteorite hunting gear.
I am in the process of assembling my modified magnet rake. I have an array of strong steel rake teeth attached to a steel chassis, and then I'll be attaching a series of extremely powerful rare earth magnets. So the idea is I drag this behind me, and the teeth here disturb the ground and hopefully dislodge small meteorite fragments that are just slightly buried, and then they should adhere to the array of super powerful magnets directly behind. That's the theory. We'll see if it works.
Steve also has some new tricks up his sleeve. He's putting his faith in a hand-built magnet sled that he'll pull behind the truck.
The magnet sled is an 8-foot wide board that's going to have a whole row of these super strong rare earth magnets screwed into it. We're going to pull it behind a vehicle. To make it a little bit easier, I'm taking some screws, putting them through a 1x3, which will allow it to kind of plow the ground, make it a little bit easier so when those little Imilac meteorites feel the tug of the magnet, they can suck right up to it.
I'm just going to do a little test to illustrate the power of these magnets. So in my rock hammer here, that's probably about 8 pounds. Here's one magnet. So this is nothing for that. This would actually hold about an 80-pound piece of iron. So 80 pounds of pull times 4, 320 pounds. You do not want to get your finger in between two of these guys. Ow! See, that's why we wear gloves.
Hurts! I was just pulling these magnets apart, and 2 of them slapped back together and caught my finger in between it and cut me. And now I'm bleeding, and I don't have time for this. Kids, don't try this at home.
I don't know about you, but I got some field testing to do.
Okay, you field test, I'll be right behind you.
And here it goes.
Of course I want Geoff to find as much as he can. I just want to be able to find a little bit more than he can.
Not so far.
He's got his ideas, I've got mine. We're gonna see which one plays out to be the best.
Oh, there's our first one. It's only tiny. At least we know it works in principle.
But working in principle doesn't pay the bills, at least not when hunting for space rocks. Geoff and Steve need volume.
Wow, that looks pretty impressive. I want to go down and see how this is working out. Well, this seems to be churning up the surface pretty well.
You can see where you've been.
Yeah, that's a fact. Should we... Hey, look at that. That's cool. At least we know it'll pick up a big object.
Day 2 of meteorite hunting at the Imilac strewn field in Chile's Atacama desert. Steve's new magnet sled is picking up anything that contains metal.
Hey, at least we know it'll pick up a big object. Look at that. It picked up a battery. That's cool.
There's one.
There's one.
There's one.
Oh, look.
Nice. Ooh, got a big one. All right, it's working.
It works.
It's kind of like dollars falling out of a slot machine. Ding, 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 ding. That's more than I got all day yesterday.
Yeah.
But don't let me discourage you from using your magnet rake.
I think this is working a little better.
I didn't hear that.
I said I think yours is working a little better.
Mine is working a little better than yours.
Well, you do have 4 times as many magnets and a truck.
There's still more on here. It's always fun when you have an idea in your head and you get out in the field and you implement it and score.
Steve, I've got an idea.
Uh-huh.
It's so tiring walking up and down the hill at this altitude, dragging that thing. And we see that it works with the truck. What about if I bring mine down and we attach it to the other side of the truck on a shorter cable?
Okay.
So what we're going to try and do now is combine both of them into one mega magnet rake and tow both of them behind the truck.
I am a rocket man. Be-ba-ba-lula. I am a rocket man. Sha-na-na-na. I am a rocket man.
We've got the 2 magnet rakes working together. They're not getting tangled up.
they didn't break or fall off the truck. I'd have to call it a success. Let's see what we got. Oh, look at this. Wow. That's more like it. Ooh-wee. To our surprise, we've discovered that the two magnet rakes work extremely well together. Steve's rake is picking up more meteorites overall, but mine's picked up a couple of larger ones.
Look at this. Wow. Oh, look at the size of... Nice one.
As the second day at Imilac comes to a close,
Ooh, there's a big hole in it.
the guys are eager to tally up their two-day bounty.
What's our current market value for Imilac? It's really gone up in recent years
has.
because there isn't any more.
So we've got like 980 grams, just a smidgen under a kilo.
One more like this and we would have been over a kilo.
We can go find one.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, I think $7 a gram is going to be really fair. I think we got a $7,000 haul here.
Oh, easily. I think $7 is conservative. It was just a really fantastic experience to go back after all these years and for there still to be meteorites.
Now we've really cleaned the place
We've really
up.
done it.
No, there's still some pieces back there.
After 2 days collecting enough small fragments to cover their trip costs, Geoff and Steve are more determined than ever to find a rare and valuable space rock. They abandon the hunt at Imilac and drive 8 hours south in pursuit of one of the rarest meteorite types, the Vaca Muerta mesosiderite. This type of meteorite is made up of equal parts nickel iron and silicate, which indicates a violent beginning, the collision of two masses of varying compositions. At the time of impact, these different materials mixed and later cooled, forming a new composite that would eventually cross paths with Earth.
This is where the big end of the strewn field starts, just over on this second hill, yeah?
Yeah, actually a little bit over this way.
Almost 4 tons of the nearly 6-ton meteorite have been recovered from this strewn field over the years. But now, Geoff and Steve have new intelligence that big rocks, potentially worth tens of thousands of dollars, are still here. But when they stop to get their bearings, Geoff and Steve realize they aren't exactly sure where here is.
I was very excited to get here, to get down to it, start hunting, and this morning he seemed a bit lost.
Something's wrong. We're not that far away.
So here we are in this incredible place, one of the most famous and well-studied meteorite strewn fields in the world, and we just don't really know what to do because we don't have the map.
Uh-oh.
Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin are in Chile's Atacama Desert looking for the Vaca Muerta strewn field, a hotbed of meteorite activity. To date, over 3.8 tons of meteoritic matter have been recovered. But the guys are not quite sure where they are exactly.
I was very excited to get here, to get down to it, start hunting, and this morning he seemed a bit lost.
Something's wrong.
Confused.
So it's on that hill?
I don't think so. I discovered that, in fact, Steve forgot to bring the strewn field map that he laboriously created.
It's
Straight
a
north.
little bit more that way, not on this hill, but a little bit more to our west, I think. 51.5 west.
Are you sure it's not 7023?
Yeah.
He's a bit of an absent-minded scientist lunatic type, really.
Uh-oh. So we've got a couple options here. We can drive around and look. We can walk around and look. We're trying to get our bearings, figuring out where we're going to start. It's a big strewn field. We only have a little bit of time here, so we got to make the most of it.
We want to check out the old workings, the mine workings. We're going to have to start at square one and recreate all the data ourselves by going and finding the impact pits and then extrapolating backwards, try and find out where we're actually supposed to be.
We've decided we're going to get over to the one site where some miners had processed, broken down some meteorites back in the 1800s, thinking it was silver.
If Geoff and Steve can find the impact pit at the large end of the strewn field, they can use that fixed point to orient themselves and find the small end of the strewn field. Steve and Geoff begin the search for the impact pit, but finding the site will be difficult and time-consuming. They decide to stop to build a PVC metal detector so they can hunt for new meteorites while they search for the landmark impact pit.
Do you know where our bag of PVC pipe pieces are? Please tell me it's in here, Geoff.
The PVC detector is designed to cover large areas in a short time.
Crap.
And could yield a large buried nickel iron-rich mass.
Well, we have lost some PVC pipes.
But today just isn't their day.
Possibly bounced out on the road somewhere. So, we're looking here at what it would take to build the handheld version of this.
So, I don't suppose you have any PVC glue, do you?
Yes, I do.
You sure about that?
No, I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sure I have some. All right, well, you seem to be occupied, so I'm gonna poodle around for a bit in the truck, see if I can find that.
You're gonna what?
Poodle around in the truck.
Poodle?
Yeah, it's an English expression.
How does one poodle?
It means drive very leisurely.
Leisurely. Okay. You go drive leisurely.
All right, I'll come back in a bit. Doesn't look like you're going anywhere.
This is the Polestar pulse induction metal detector. And this is the brains of it. It connects to the wire, and the wire goes to the coil. Normally, a little handheld detector, you've got a little brain, little coil, little wire. You've got a big coil, not a giant one, but a medium-sized one here. Plug it into here, turn this on. This is what's going to detect it.
Well, I've left Steve down on the flats. He's putting together a portable metal detector for us to carry. He's really in the doghouse today because he forgot to bring the connectors for the big sled. While he's messing about with that, I'm up here in the hills trying to find the location of the largest Vaca Muerta meteorite, VM6, which weighed 868 kilos, almost a ton. It shows you how difficult meteorite hunting is. Even with the coordinates, we can't find the location of a meteorite that's already been found.
With just a few hours of daylight, Geoff sees an anomaly in the distance.
That's quite interesting. Why is there a pile of black sand there?
Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin are in Chile's Atacama desert, searching for the Vaca Muerta strewn field. Steve is testing his improvised PVC metal detector, while Geoff has spotted something unusual.
That's quite interesting. Why is there a pile of black sand there? I decide to take off in the truck and drive up the hill, and boom, I come across this fantastic impact pit. It's just an amazing moment of history preserved on a hilltop out there in the desert. Oh, it's highly magnetic. These look like meteorite fragments. I bet this is one of the find sites. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Geoff confirms this is the landmark needed to extrapolate their position within the strewn field and get back to the hunt for big space rocks.
There are fragments all over the place here. Wow. Wow. These are actually pieces of one of the meteorites. It's not just the rocks that are amazing to me. It's everything about them, where they come from, how they get here, how they interact with the Earth when they hit. And so any record of their journey and their effect on our planet is mesmerizing to me. This may be the exact spot where the giant mass landed. This was a big meteorite, 868 kilos, almost a ton. But not big enough to explode on impact and make a crater, so fell out of the sky at a few hundred miles an hour, bam, right into the ground here and rested here until it was found in the 1800s by miners.
The Vaca Muerta meteorite was discovered by mining prospectors in 1861. It's estimated to be the largest mesosiderite discovered to date, with more than 3,782 kilograms of material recovered. There is no accurate account of what became of the giant space rock, but the miners left a few clues near the impact pit over 100 years ago.
We know the miners broke it up into various pieces, so there's a pile of meteorite dust and fragments. They may have broken some pieces off to see if it contains silver or another valuable metal. And there's still remnants of their work left behind. I think I'll flag this so we can find it a bit more easily next time.
With current values of between $2 and $8 per gram, this size rock could have been worth over $1 million in today's market.
I suppose I better go check on Steve. Tell him I found the spot.
Steve and his PVC metal detector aren't having much luck, but Geoff's discovery of the impact pit means they're back on track.
So check this out. Just over the hill here, I drove around a bit and then saw just a big weird pile of black dust and got out, checked it out, and it's a big pile of meteorite fragments. Look.
Cool. It looks like maybe a meteorite landed right there.
Okay.
And so we should go back there with the detectors. I just picked these up off the top.
Most definitely.
So here's where I found those little fragments.
So did you just spot those with your eyes?
Yeah, I just saw the pile and I thought, well, that doesn't really look like terrestrial stuff. And then
Oh, look at that.
a bunch of fragments.
Yeah.
And then look just up here. This looks like an impact pit to me, a really big one.
Oh, look at that green.
And that's indicative of Vaca Muerta, isn't it?
It is.
So I'm thinking it actually landed here.
Maybe they carted the stuff off and sifted it down
Yeah.
there. I hate to come all this way and just pick up some little crumbs, but I'd hate to come all this way and go home and not bring home some crumbs. Why don't we take a minute and bag some of that?
Sure.
With just a couple hours left on the third day, Geoff and Steve decide to collect stardust from the historic fall.
You know, as crazy as it seems, you know, someone would pay $5 for a little vial of this stuff. It's history. Geoff came across an old impact pit and then a pile of debris, which was the result of sifting by some scientists some years ago. Look at this. Wow. Really nice one. They had to leave the sand and they had to leave the little tiny pieces of meteorites because it was probably one of the 500 to 1,000 pound rocks. And they left a lot of material behind. Look at that. There are chunks in there.
Yeah, there are.
I'm finding little pieces that are worth 5, 10, 20 bucks. You know, when you're finding nothing all day long, it's kind of hard to walk away from stuff that's sitting there. Not to mention the little dust. It's not worth much, but hey, you know, every bit counts. Okay, got to put our brain together. How can we sift through this quickly?
We've got the sieve
Look at
in there.
this.
Use the sieve and the shovel.
All right, let's see if that'll help.
Pardon our dust while we renovate.
Yeah, baby. All right, we're getting bigger ones. All right, this is worth it. Doesn't look like much, but even at 25 cents a gram, 20 kilos worth, it's $5,000 worth. Pays the plane ticket to get here.
The next day begins with one of the eeriest discoveries these guys have ever made.
The Vaca Muerta.
I wonder if this is the origin of the name of the strewn field. These have been here a long time.
Long time. Look at this.
That's part of a hoof, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's gross.
I think. Toenail. Well, should we test and see if a meteorite hit it and killed it?
I think we should.
Something there. Oh.
Is this grave robbing?
Yes. Something over here too. Anything on your magnet yet?
No.
It says it's a quarter. A hind quarter, maybe. Oh. Look at that.
An old horseshoe.
Oh, don't break
attached
it.
to a hoof. That is really creepy.
This is good luck. Well, not for the donkey or burro. I guess it's not a cow.
I was just gonna say that. To the best of my knowledge, cows don't wear horseshoes.
This is great.
That's definitely up there as with the most interesting meteorons we found on this one.
Los hombres meteoritos.
The bones have been picked clean over the years, and so is the case for the large end of the Vaca Muerta strewn field. With their bearings and their pockets full of stardust, the guys finally plot a course to the small end of the strewn field, determined to unearth valuable Vaca Muerta meteorites.
You know what we should do? Is plot that, and we should drive that line with the coil.
Okay.
Just head to the small end, following that line dead on.
Sounds like a plan.
Nice. We've done everything backwards. We came out to the big end to get the information we needed to build a map to send us back to the small end where we actually want to be. And that's what meteorite hunting is sometimes.
So we built the sled. We're towing it behind the pickup. Jeff's in back, kind of looking like a cosmic fisherman there waiting for a nibble. It's pretty boring, probably a little dusty back there. I know it's a bumpy. Every once in a while he yells, "Slow down."
Whoa, we just went over something! Steve! We just went over something loud. Can you circle around? Whoa, 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 whoa! Big target! Hold it! Real loud one. Real sharp.
Geoff and Steve are in their fourth and final day of hunting Chile's Vaca Muerta strewn field in the Atacama Desert. The meteorites can be on the surface or buried, so the guys are using their deep-seeking metal-detecting coil to cover as much territory as possible.
Vaca Muerta has been a real challenge here.
I think I found the weakest link.
Things have just gone wrong, left and right.
We've tried pretty much every hunting technique there is. We found some smaller pieces. It was nice, but it wasn't really what we were looking for. Whoa, 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 whoa! Big target!
I wasn't paying attention that much because we're expecting something to be under the ground. All of a sudden, Geoff hollers that we ran over something.
Real loud one.
Dude.
Are you serious?
Dude! Yeah! Wow! It is!
Are you sure? Oh, look, it's got some of the green on it, but it's all iron.
Doesn't it feel like solid iron?
Yeah. This one is like, I'm pretty sure it is a meteorite.
It was nestled next to a larger rock and just blended right in with the desert.
Maybe it's just a big nodule.
But the vacas that we've seen are all kind of, they're, you know, browny, orangey.
Because they're like underground.
I expect that I can always identify a meteorite instantaneously, and in this instance, I can't. I'm genuinely puzzled. The best I can say is that it could be. Wouldn't you expect a Vaca Muerta to be about half that weight, because it's half silicates and half iron? I mean, that just feels like an iron meteorite to me.
It's gotta be. What else is gonna be out here? It's not a hammer. It's not an anvil.
I will do a happy dance after it goes to the lab and it's cut, if it turns out to be the real thing.
And we hear this all the time. Well, if it's not a meteorite, what is it? But I'm gonna say, if that's not a meteorite, what is it? Come on.
That's a good question, actually.
All right, this isn't fun. I want to be excited.
You can be excited.
Yeah, but I don't want to be excited and then let down. If it's a meteorite, I don't want to not be excited about it because that's the fun of hunting. It's getting out, hearing the score and the adrenaline rush, and yeah, you know you found it. Okay.
The could-be meteorite weighs in at 3.5 kilos, which could fetch anywhere between $10,000 and $25,000, depending on its quality and uniqueness.
Cool.
Or it could be worthless.
So I can think of three options. One is it's a piece of man-made iron from an old smelter that was left out here by prospectors. Two, it's a piece of the Vaca meteorite, but it's an iron-heavy section. Mesositerites don't have a homogeneous interior. Some of it's more iron-rich, some of it's more silicate-rich. So it's possible that it's an iron-rich nodule
from the Vaca meteorite. The third option is it's a brand new meteorite that's nothing to do with Vaca Muerta that we just happened to stumble upon out here. So they're my three options. All right, I could stand here looking at this all day.
Let's go.
Let's pack up. Send this back to the States.
We can celebrate, right? It's just frustrating. And I'm the optimist. It's Geoff's job to be grumpy.
Of course, I wish I could know right now. I mean, I want to know this instant if it's the real thing, because if it is, I want to celebrate. Last few hours of the last day, we make potentially a great find, but I just can't let myself have that last little bit of joy, you know? I've been disappointed too many times.
Not including the last big find, the Chile expedition netted over $12,000 in meteorites, a big success. But the trip will be one of their best ever if they can verify that their last 3.5 kilogram find is, in fact, a space rock. They sent the Vaca meteorite to Arizona State University for analysis.
We're finally here at ASU. We're going to find out today whether this rock that we found is either a meteorite or not, and if it is it a Vaca Muerta meteorite or is it a brand new one? If this is a Vaca Muerta, what's inside is what really counts. And it could just be kind of blah, a little bit of metal here, a little bit of silicates there, and not be that special. Or it could be really dynamic. Each one of these, and even each slice can be different. So I'm pretty sure it's a meteorite. But how good of a meteorite is it? That's what we got to find out.
So it was cut into 3 pieces. So I'm looking at the outside and thinking, what on earth were you guys looking at? And then it actually got sent and it actually got sliced. Wow. What do you think of that? Now that, okay, I was just kidding with you guys. That is amazing. That is absolutely beautiful.
This rules. This is one of the most fantastic meteorites I've ever seen.
It's absolutely spectacular.
It's stunning.
As far as I'm concerned, it's pretty clearly Vaca Muerta. It's a pretty amazing sample. Actually, it's far better than our samples.
Really?
Oh, this is way better.
I don't think you've ever said that to us
Yes,
before.
this is, no, I haven't.
The mystery's finally over. The strange and puzzling rock that we found that last day in the Vaca Muerta strewn field has turned out not only to be a genuine Vaca Muerta meteorite, but the best we've ever seen.
So congratulations on your find.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's a phenomenal space rock. It's gorgeous, it's rare, it's scientifically interesting, and it's just been a huge victory for us.
A rock this size, sliced up with this quality, it's worth $25,000, easy.
The Vaca Muerta meteorite may add only 1 to their total count, but it's one of the rarest, bringing the cumulative value of all their finds to approximately $37,000.
This is one instance where I'm very pleased to have been proved wrong. I have to say, fair is fair. Steve was absolutely convinced it was the real deal. I was just iffy.
13 years ago, Geoff and I dropped by the Vaca site, and all we found were a couple little pieces. We didn't even try because we'd almost given up on it. This time we decided, let's go back, let's give it an honest try. We knew how to hunt, we knew more about strewn fields, we knew more about our equipment. We're out there and we score the trophy rock, we bring it back. There's nothing better than saying, this is what I want to do, going out, nailing it, and bringing the trophy home. The redemption was sweet.